Hello, yogis, and welcome to our Friday morning yin class. So for today's class, you may want to have a blanket and maybe some blocks handy. And we're going to get started today's practice in child's pose. I invite you to bring your blanket across the base of your mat. For a little bit of extra comfort for your knees and your shins. Bring your knees out wide, sink your hips back to your heels, walk your fingers forward, let your forehead rest down on the mat. Sink your hips back as you reach forward, creating some traction through the chest and the shoulders. I invite you to close down your eyes. Become aware of your breath, inhales and exhales through the nose. Allowing yourself to sink and settle into this opening pose. Let's take some deep inhales and exhales. In through the nose, into the belly, fill the lungs, fully expand and pause. Open mouth, exhale, breathe it out, let it go. And again, big breath in. Full breath out. Big breath in. Full breath out, letting yourself sink and settle into this opening posture. Letting your mind settle in. Come into a singular thought. Maybe that thought is breath awareness. Maybe that thought is, what is courage? Maybe that thought is, how do I live with more compassion? But allowing yourself to focus your mind on one concept or idea. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Start to walk your hands back towards your body, pressing yourself up. Bring your knees together, shift yourself off to the side, and we're going to bring that blanket more to the middle of the mat as we walk ourselves forward and come down onto our stomachs. So you want the blanket underneath where the hips are. And we're coming into a Sphinx pose. So I invite you to grab one of your blocks. Your legs are out long behind you, and maybe your block is in front of you, letting your forehead rest down. Forearms are on the floor, palms are facing down. Let your forehead rest on your block. Let your shoulders kind of fall away from your ears. Let your chest sink into the floor. And start to become aware of your breath. Feel your inhales and exhales expand and release. Reconnect to your breath and reconnect to that single thought. Let's parallel our chin to the floor, and we're going to bring our right knee out to the right, letting that ankle rest down. You can flex your toes toward the right, creating those 90-degree angles. You can let your forehead come back down, or you can keep yourself parallel, letting your hip, especially the left, sink into the floor. And let's take our right hand and we're going to slide it underneath the left as we bring our right ear onto our block. You can reach your left hand forward or you can let it stay bent, whatever feels better for you. And let's see if we can bring some release into this. Let's take 3 more big breaths here. Unravel your right hand, let it come back down onto the floor. Extend your right leg back out long. Take a moment, shift the hips from side to side. And let's switch to the other side, bending into the knee, flexing the toes. And we'll start here with our head at neutral and our arms at neutral, taking a few breaths. With each exhale, seeing if you can allow the hips to sink more into the floor. Let's take the left hand, reach it underneath the right. And bring it back underneath. Come back to neutral, send the left foot out, shift the hips from side to side. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press yourself up into a tabletop position. Stacking shoulders over wrists, knees under hips. Find that neutral tabletop position, and then let's inhale. Drop the belly, arch the spine, lift the gaze, cow pose. Exhale, round the spine, head hangs heavy, press through the palms, squeeze the belly button to the spine, cat pose. Inhale, arch and lift into your cow. Exhale, round into your cat. Take 4 more on your own breath, moving breath to movement. Last one, inhale, arch and lift. Exhale, round. Come back to neutral, and we're going to shift ourselves into a wide leg forward fold. So opening up the legs out wide, you may want to be seated on your blanket. It might feel good to fold that blanket up and get a little bit more height in the hips. And it also might be nice to take your blocks out in front of you. And as you hinge forward, maybe you find your elbows on your blocks. Always remembering that the blocks have those 3 height settings. So finding what feels right for you. And I invite you to close down your eyes and focus your gaze on your third eye, that space in between your brows. In yoga philosophy, the third eye is the space of intuition, the space of inner wisdom, the space of inner knowing. So when we live with our third eye open, we can live from a more authentic, a more guided space, guided by our own intuition, our own inner knowing. So we're less influenced by what other people want, and we're more aligned with what we truly want, with what's best for us. Come back to your breath, sending your breath deep into your belly. Let's press up through center, square our body over to the right, and come forward to the right. Return to your breath. See if you can keep your awareness on your breath. Maybe you pose the question to yourself, how can I show myself more compassion? How can I show myself more compassion? Ask the question and allow the space for the answer to come to the surface of your awareness. So it's not always about taking the first answer that comes through. It's about allowing to be still with that thought and see what kinds of answers come up. Press our hands into the mat, walk them back toward the body, walk your hands over to the left side, start to walk the hands down. You can come down onto the forearms, maybe just come to a point where you start to feel some stress in the body, some lengthening, and then let yourself be there. How can I show myself more compassion? And bring your hands down, walk yourself back through center. Let's place the blocks off to the side. Bring your hands behind you, ground down into your hands, bring your knees together and pedal out your legs. Pedal out your legs, bringing some mobility, some movement into, you can do some circles with the knees. What we're really wanting to do, so we were still in the hip joint, and we want to be able to bring some release into that. Now, lifting the feet up, you're grounded into your hands behind you. We're going to cross the right leg over the left, bend into the knees, and then shift ourselves forward into cow face. So I want you to know that there's a lot of different ways that your body can come into this. Ideally, the knees are stacked on top of one another and you're pulling the heels in closer to the hips. But whatever is accessible for you, where you feel some stress, some stretch in the body, that is fine. So maybe you look more like this, or maybe even you have your bottom leg extended and your top leg is more like this. No matter what variation you find in your body, trust that variation, create that trusting relationship with your body. I invite you to bring your hands onto your knees and kind of let your hands hang heavy, like be heavy. And it's not that you're like pressing down, but we're just using the hands as a little bit more body weight. Like I can feel a difference with my hands just resting, not pressing, just resting. I can feel more sensation through my hips than if my hands are not there. And it's pretty slight, but that's what this practice is all about. It's about the subtle. It's not about these big, bold sensations. We want to find sensation and pause, not coming into the fullest, deepest expression of the posture. And then as you're here, keeping a straight spine, maybe you start to shift forward just a little bit and just notice how that feels through your hips. Personally, mine are very tight today, like abnormally tight. So just know that if yours are too, you're not alone. That's the great thing about this yin practice is it really is a recovery practice from all of the really physical practices that I do throughout the week. And because it's so much less physical, it can be easy to question, why am I doing this? And then I do it and my body feels so much better because I've taken the time to create the space that my muscles need because I've been working them all week long, that my muscles need in order to repair and recover. It also brings my awareness, raises my awareness to if there are tight parts of the body, I discover them in my yin practice, and then I do things off of my mat to help bring more release. So whether that is using the tennis ball, whether that is going for a massage, whether that is I have a massage gun that I use, I have a lot of different techniques that I can help bring even more release into the areas in the body that feel extra tight in my yin practice. But I wouldn't know that, I wouldn't have that awareness if I didn't come into my yin practice. We're going to shift through center plant, the hands back, unravel the legs, take a moment, pedal out those legs, and then left leg on the top, right leg on the bottom, finding that same variation of cow face on this side, or maybe it looks a little bit different because your hips are at different, they're not balanced. That's okay. We're coming to our practice to come back into balance. And most likely, we're not in balance. Most likely, most bodies are probably not. And that's how we can create the space of awareness and compassion. So we can love and accept our bodies for being imbalanced, for being tight. We can love and accept our bodies. We can find compassion for whatever we feel in our bodies and whatever thoughts and feelings are connected to what we feel in our bodies, to the physical sensations. Again, there is that weight of the hands on the knee, feeling into that. I'm going to let my voice fall silent. I invite you to close down your eyes and just let yourself be here. What awareness is being revealed to you in this moment? Maybe sink a little bit more forward. Come through center, plant your hands behind you. Let's unravel the legs. Take a moment, pedal it out. And we're going to shift ourselves into our final resting pose. Yes, we are already there. This 30 minutes goes by so quickly. Now, if there's anything that you need to do in your body in order to help yourself relax into this, so maybe that is pulling the knees into the chest and gently rocking side to side. Maybe it's even keeping your feet on the floor, heel toeing your feet to the edges of your mat, letting your knees come in. Or maybe it is coming into a butterfly pose. Find a final resting pose that feels good and right for you today. Allow yourself to be there. Allow yourself to sink into that. Reconnect to your breath. Once again, I'm going to let my voice fall away for these last 2 minutes. Maybe you let your mind center in on compassion, courage, awareness, or maybe you just let it go. Let's return to our breath awareness and take 5 more rounds of breath here. Start to heel toe your feet back together. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Gently rock side to side, giving that gentle massage to the low back. Grab the backs of your knees, rock yourself up into an easy seat. Press your palms together, tuck your chin to your chest. Taking a moment to acknowledge yourself for showing up. Acknowledge any awareness from a mental, physical, emotional, spiritual perspective that came to the surface of your mind. Taking a moment to thank your body, thank your breath. Maybe you reflect on courage, compassion, awareness as you move throughout the rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here today, for sharing in this space and allowing me to share this practice with you. It is always my honor. The light, the love, the wisdom in me sees, honors, reflects, and encourages the light, the love, the wisdom in you. Namaste. I hope to see you again on your mats very, very soon. And until then, may your light be your guide. Mwah.